Well, it is finally 2021, and what better way to improve your life this year than to get into a mobile gacha game? Wait, no. The script for this video, that cannot be right. Huh? Yeah. Sure, that's what it says. All right. Okay, well, whatever. I guess I will do what I'm told to do. So I've actually been getting a lot of questions here lately about Dragon Ball Legends, and is it worth getting into right now if you've never played the game before, or maybe you played it a long time ago and you took a long break and you're considering getting back into it, since admittedly it has had a lot of really cool things going on in the game right now. The game's a little over 2 years old, and with mobile games, they're designed to update very frequently. You know, it's not like normal games that may get patches every 6 months or so. These games get updates pretty much weekly, and so 2 years is a lot of time. And with everything that you may have missed, you're probably wondering, is it even worth your time to get into it now, having missed quite a bit of content? Well, hey guys, how's it hanging, everybody? This is StormPow, and I am a Dragon Ball YouTuber here on YouTube, I guess. And I do videos primarily of Dragon Ball Legends, but I do also occasionally do videos of some other content. And today I'm going to be answering all those questions and probably even a couple other ones, and sticking to my style of just giving you the bare minimum information. We want to run through this as quickly as possible. I'm not going to give you a bunch of fluff, and just answer these questions that you may have. But before we get started or get further into it, I do want to ask you, if you are enjoying the video so far, or you think this might help you out, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. That's a great way to support me. And if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe, because while we're going to be talking about if Dragon Ball Legends is worth getting into in 2021, I can tell you my channel is definitely worth getting into in 2021. So anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. So there's really two main things we're going to talk about today, and it's going to be the PvP meta, or the gameplay meta in general, and also the characters themselves. So the PvP meta is basically a term that's used when you're talking about like the gameplay mechanics and the way that certain people play the game, certain things that are the accepted norms in the game right now as far as the gameplay goes. Because for me personally, one of the hardest things about getting into a game that's been out for a while is that when you go online, you're playing against people that have quite possibly been playing the game since its release. So there is obviously a huge skill gap, and these people are really good at the game. They've got 2 years of experience in this case, and you're brand new. Well, luckily to me, Dragon Ball Legends is like the definition of easy to learn, hard to master. And after you play the tutorial and maybe a couple of the single player story missions, you'll have a pretty decent understanding of the gameplay. Once you hop into PvP, there's really only like a handful of tricks or different things that the players do online. Going through the tutorial, the game will tell you to string together your combos, tap several cards at once, and that will have you do a whole string of things. And a lot of times that's also how the computer players play. But once you get online and get a little bit more advanced, you'll realize that people don't necessarily just string all of their cards together. They will actually hit one card, move up, move right, and then do another card, move up, move right, do another card, and do that to do their combos. And the reason for that is that they want to build up their ki, so that way they are able to string together even longer combos. Because you see, you'll gain ki, which you use to use those cards, both by charging ki, but you'll also gain it gradually over time. And so doing this kind of extends the period of time in your combos, thus letting you gain ki at the same time that you're using it. And then you're able to put together these crazy long combos in some cases. But that's really about the main trick. I mean, there's obviously other little things that you'll learn as you get more and more advanced, like guard cancels and things like that. But that's really like the main learning curve that differs between the online gameplay and the single player gameplay. And I just told you how to do that one. So, I mean, you're good. You're good now. That was a freebie. You're welcome. And those other more complex trips like guard cancels that I was talking about, those don't really become prevalent until you're like level 30 plus, like 35 or so in ranked PvP, which by that time you're fairly well invested in the game anyway, and it might be worthwhile, you know, going online and looking up tutorials on how to do those. But you can easily get into the game and get pretty decently deep into the online multiplayer even, just by the gameplay that you learn in the single player and by that little trick that I just learned you. In my opinion, and I firmly believe on this, and I will die on this hill, the PvP meta is not too hard to get into. I mean, definitely play some single player first, get used to it, and then maybe do some training battles before you get too used to it, you know, and practice that little trick that I just taught you. But by then, you'll be plenty good and you can definitely get yourself into the game. The other thing that we're going to be talking about is the units in the game. So basically, if you're not familiar with gacha games like this, units are basically the characters, and you'll find that there are tons. I tried to get like a definitive answer of exactly how many different units there are in the game, but I couldn't, probably because that amount is updating, like, again, every week pretty much. There's at least some sort of new variant just about that comes out in a unit. So you'll gain new characters primarily by doing summons, and you'll use chrono crystals, the game's in-game currency, to do so. And most of the time you'll see summoning banners if you go on the game right now, where you can get 10 different characters for 1,000 chrono crystals. And 1,000 chrono crystals can take a decent little bit of time for a normal player to accumulate, but luckily the game actually makes it pretty easy, in my opinion, for new players to get chrono crystals by doing the story mode. You get roughly 20-25 crystals by doing a single story mode mission, because it'll give you 10 right off the bat for doing it, and then you can also claim a mission reward of another 10, and you'll probably get like 3 or 6 or maybe even 9 or so, maybe even 10 additional crystals by, you know, if you accidentally happen to do some of the challenges in the story mode mission. So it's a really great way to get a lot of crystals, and there's a ton of story mode missions already, let alone by later in the year when you may be watching this, and a lot of them even have hard mode difficulty, which again gives you another opportunity to gain an additional 20-something crystals per each story mode mission. So you'll probably rack up several thousand chrono crystals within your first like week or so if you're spending a decent amount of time, and you don't even have to be focusing too heavily on it. I was literally sitting at my desk at work and just kind of tapping and, you know, letting the game use its auto on mechanic for the easier story mode missions, which most of them early on are very easy, where you're not even technically playing the game. I just chose my characters and let it rip, and then I would do it again and repeat, and then at the very end I'd collect all my mission rewards and I'd be rolling in it. So anyway, that's enough about how to actually earn the crystals and do the summons. You want to know, is it worth it though? You know, am I still going to be able to catch up? Because obviously, if you're unfamiliar with mobile games or gacha games like this, the characters are unveiled on what's called banners, and basically it is a time-sensitive temporary summon that you can do to get a handful of these featured characters, and usually the ones with the lowest drop rates are some of the best, and they're really sought after because they're really good in PvP. So you're probably asking, well, what about a banner that's no longer active and I absolutely can't summon on it no matter how many crystals I have, and it's got some really prized character? That is a valid concern, and there are definitely a couple of those that I missed out on from before when I got in the game, and I see them in PvP now and I'm like, you know, I really wish that I was around when he was around. But the game actually, in my opinion, does a really great job of bringing those characters back and also introducing new characters that are relevant to the PvP meta. For example, Vegito Blue is, you know, currently considered one of the top tier units in the game by most people, especially if you've got him leveled up all the way, soul boosted, and you got, you know, some extra stars on him. And it still took me a while to get Vegito Blue, but that's not the game's fault. Really, Vegito Blue has been floating around on a lot of the banners that were going around here recently as a featured character on the unit. And they do that because they know that he's a sought after character, and they know that people are going to summon on a banner just because they have a chance of getting Vegito Blue or some other, you know, previously well sought after unit, because either you want to summon him for the first time like I was there for a while, or you maybe already pulled him in the original banner but you want to get dupes of him to level him up and make him even stronger. And there are tons of other units that kind of have that same principle. When they first introduced them, they were really hot and awesome on that banner that they released them on. They maybe skipped them for the next banner, they weren't around, and then they brought them back almost every other banner. And in addition to that, like I said, the game, in my opinion, does a really great job of making sure that the new characters that come into the game are relevant, because it's kind of their job. It's not necessarily their job to like make the game fun or cool and enticing to new players. I mean, kind of is, but they want you to want to summon on that. So they're obviously going to make these new characters pretty enticing in some way, shape, or form. So a lot of times when they release a new summoning banner, that new character enters the meta and kind of shifts things around right off the bat. So what I'm trying to say is that the meta changes so much with these characters that in my opinion, you won't be a like new player or behind on units for very long. Because one other thing that they do really well too is when they release a certain type of character, a lot of times in the next banner or in the same banner alongside with it, a lot of times they'll release characters that go together on the same type of team build very well. So that way these characters are released pretty closely in conjunction with each other. Like I said, sometimes even on the exact same banner, and they've got really good synergy. So it's not even like you have to wait 6 months to be able to build a good team. A lot of times within 2 banners, you may have enough characters that have enough in common to build a good team. And again, if you don't know anything about team building, I also conveniently have a guide on that. Be sure to check that out, and the link will be in the description as well. But yeah, we're pretty much done with this video. Those are my main thoughts on, is Dragon Ball Legends worth getting into? Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, so let me know what you do think down in the comments below. But other than that, if you do want to check out some awesome Dragon Ball Legends content or other Dragon Ball related stuff, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on bell notifications, because I also do go live on this channel. But other than that, guys, I would like to thank y'all for watching. I hope you have a nice day, and goodbye.